All right, thank you so much, Blake. Tonight, KHOU 11 News and the Houston community is standing with the students of Santa Fe High School. Incredible stories of the community coming together tonight. But first, our Verify team, fact-checking more claims in the aftermath of the tragedy. The suspect, Santa Fe High School student Demetrius Pagorchis. Marcelino Benito is here now with what might have motivated such an attack.
Ron, at the core of conversations tonight, we're seeing one question pop up over and over again. Why did Pagorchis do this? Was it politically motivated, religiously motivated, or just meaningless violence? In the absence of definite answers tonight, we're seeing a whole lot of this. Tweets claiming he's a Trump supporter, possibly radicalized, comments calling him communist and liberal, and fake Facebook pages that seem to support both sides. The problem is that mixed in with these claims are tidbits of truth. He did have these pics on social media, a trench coat, a Born to Kill t-shirt, and this picture of who he followed on Instagram is true. We screen grabbed those ourselves. But here's the thing. Social media pictures or likes, well, they don't give definite motives, and no officials have commented on his views. This is the part where we usually move the question into one of two categories, but tonight, politically motivated has to stay right here in the middle. We cannot move it. All we can do tonight is verify that his political motivations are not definitively known, and anyone who claims to know them has to provide some serious proof to back it up. If you'd like us to verify anything tied to this case or this shooting, email us at verify@khou.com or reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter. Ron, back to you.
All right, thank you, Marcelino. Tonight,